My name is Sittimont Kanjanabootra. I have been working as an academic in construction management at the School of Architecture and Built Environment at University of Newcastle, Australia, for the past 6 years. And prior to that, Thai by birth, I used to work in construction industry in Thailand and in Asia. My responsibility as a mechanical engineer was typically design air conditioning, ventilation system in buildings. I was fortunate enough to work in multinational engineering consulting firm, which gave me a lot of opportunity to work in different kind of project, different kind of building. Let me tell you a story. This is one of the quite big shopping center in Bangkok. For any of you who have been to Bangkok, you probably know that the outside temperature is 36 Celsius pretty much all year through. So clients in the market, they know this fact, right? So they, in their business, the client who's property developer, when they develop shopping center, they like their building to be cool, cold, and comfortable because they know that shoppers or customer will try to escape the heat from outside and spend as much time as possible inside the building, including me. So this shopping center initially started. I have been assigned to design air conditioning, ventilation, and fire protection system in the building. Like any other business as usual project, this kind of retail business is quite fast moving. Client want everything done quick. So we get together, initiate our initial design, like any other project. And the nature of this building is interesting because it is a shopping center with the top two stories accommodating about 16 cinema. I think it has become kind of norm practice of large-scale shopping center now. However, about 6 months in, after the project started, client has initiated contact with the new tenant, and that tenant happened to be fitness center. Many of you might know as well that the cooling load for fitness center and ventilation load for fitness center is huge. So because of the dollar sign in their eyes, right? Just keep rolling. New tenant came in, big money, need to grab them. The impact that business contact has on us, not just only mechanical engineer, but structural engineer and electrical and lighting, everyone's been affected by that change. So we have to redesign ventilation system and air conditioning system to accommodate this gigantic fitness center, which accommodated about 20% of the floor, 4 stories of the building. So the impact of that has on water-cooled chiller machine, which is increased the size dramatically. Now, how can this relate to sustainability and environment? The bigger size of the air conditioning system that put in the building, the larger energy that the building has to consume, right? And also, it ejects a lot of heat outside the building into the environment. So this is just one of the examples of how fast-moving construction industry, their practice is not really sustainable. We understand that this is their nature of their day-to-day business as well, but it has impact. So this is not just one of the projects that happened in this fashion. This is just one of the many others that happen to be designed and built this way in Asia. So after working in the industry for 5 years, I decided to go to pursue further education, and I went to study PhD in Melbourne, Australia, and then decided to change to become become academic. And that gave me opportunity and ability to think and reflect back to my practice day. And I found that you have been trained as an engineer to design all sort of system that you responsible for, with the good intention that you would like to design something with sustainability aspect into your design. But it seems like there's a lot of noise and distraction in the business that pulling us away from this fundamental idea that we have been trained to do. So among those noise and distraction, I would like to highlight 4 today in this speak. And the first one, the first noise, the first distraction. If you have been to Bangkok, Thailand, you probably have seen this t-shirt before. They're making a joke of it. Same. It's kind of the thing that tourists buy. So my question that from this reflection and observation is, why do professionals who work in built environment often just engage with what Mark and Goodyear would call reproduction? Why do we keep doing the same thing, same old way all the time? Right? Since I start to work in that company until the day I left, the process is pretty much the same. Nothing changed. The way we design building, the way we build building. And on top of that, we're not just only doing things the same old way, we are so comfortable with dealing with people who are doing it the same way as well. In other words, when someone throws some challenge or change your process, you tend to be uncomfortable, step back, even sometimes disengage. So this kind of reproduction, which is not a very healthy way to do things, is drive us, the researcher team at University of Newcastle, to try to look at the same old problem in a different way. I'll give you some example of the research project that is currently doing. This project is about how do we reuse building components, right, at the end of its life cycle. So to do this, we engage with both end of life cycle stakeholders. We talk to building designer and we talk to building demolition contractor. And we ask them to identify among large number of design for de-assembly design principle, what are the key significant factors that they take into consideration, when they do their job. And we engage with this both end of the supply chain. We have identified there are actually 9 design principles that both of them already have been practicing. But there, for some reason, there are the middle process get in the way that disconnect these 2 people and don't let them engage with each other. In other words, building designer just decided they don't know who's going to be people, a group of people who demolishing it at the end. So this is still ongoing research project. Hopefully when I have a chance to see you next time, I'll have some result to report. The other one, the other PhD student he's looking at architect building design parameter and the relationship or impact that it has on building performance and human comfort. You probably know already as well that there are a large amount of research has been done already on the design parameter, such as orientation, facade material, the ratio between wall and windows, and how you put the space together. Research has been done a lot on the relationship between design parameter and the building energy performance. And also a lot of work has been done already as well between to find relationship between design parameter and human comfort. However, there is a lack of study that look at design parameter and both factors at the same time. So we try to look at it differently. This PhD student used Monte Carlo simulation method to try to identify those relationships. Next noise. Victor Turner, who's a very famous anthropologist, through his observation a long time ago, he found that when human, a group of people get together to do something, to carry out some activity or some task, there's always drama happen all the time, right? In whatever they do. And we often, as a whole, as a collective group of people, we have to go through all of these drama to get whatever we set out to do done. Whether we can get it done or not done, or done with greater cost. So this also happened in the built environment as well. This noise that raised the question, how do professionals working in the built environment dealing with drama, which happen regularly and frequently? I've been researching Sydney Light Rail project, which is very, very interesting and full of dramas. Let me tell you some of those dramas. The project set out to do two things with a good intention. First, to stimulate business or economic growth of the Sydney CBD area. Right. The second purpose is to improve the sustainability of the city by limiting the number of cars that drive through the city. If you have light rail, people will not drive in and create a movement. As a result, create economic growth. Good idea. This idea started in December 2012 with the estimate cost at 1.6 billion. Right? It's quite a lengthy light rail network in the CBD and connected to outside CBD. And at the time, the expect economic return benefit is 4 billion. Wow, everyone's, this is fantastic. Right. And then a year and a half later, the project was through the parliament and approved. And then 2 years on the dot, the Sydney Light Rail public-private partnership contract has been awarded. By this time, 2 years later, estimate cost has risen nearly 550 million. Construction is not even started yet, right? The cost is rise up from 1.6 billion to 2.1 billion. And at the same time, the return benefit has dropped from 4 billion to 3 billion. And then in October 2015, the construction process began, which expect to finish around the end of the civil work expect to finish around June 2018, and everything complete by the end of 2018. Until now, it's still not finished yet. This is already September 2019. And earlier, about 2 months ago, the new expected finish time frame is being launched by the main contractor. And they expect to finish around March next year, with the finger crossed, if it's finished. So, along this long process, these are some of the dramas that happen. Right. This is very interesting. Why I would call it drama, because responsibility for project manager or engineer like me, or local politician or official, we have been trained to do our task in a certain way and dealing with certain things. But when we put too many things together and create this kind of drama, tend to don't know what to do because the situation is diffused and get all over the place. Some of the drama happen. It's very interesting. Number 4, about a year into the project timeline, this project is actually that the PPP contract has been awarded as the most efficient PPP contract. That's before the construction began. And I don't know whether they take away the award that's been given to this project or not. And because of the constant delay and overcost, this drive a lot of small business in the area where the train track goes along to close down for good. Over 150 businesses have been closed down permanently because of this project. So they get together and launch a class action to New South Wales Transportation and New South Wales government. And the other thing, the lack of communication, right? The main contractor, the Spanish company Acciona, has launched 1.1 billion lawsuit against New South Wales Transportation because of the lack of transparency in terms of information. Anywhere they dig, they often find few things that they weren't told. Right? They found human remain in one of the areas where the track goes because it was the cemetery. And ironically, the major route is actually built on the same location of the old train system that has been decommissioned in the 50s. This again informed me, we keep reproducing this thing. Doesn't seem like we learn anything at all. So this is one of the noise I believe that hindering us to achieve those very fantastic ideas, the two main purposes that this project set out to do at the beginning. The third noise. I think there are lots of things that we can learn from the marketing and business area, right? Whenever any new innovation came into market, we often committed one of these sins. Right? It becomes a kind of ironic joke that they make a cartoon out of it, which is this is what we are, right? So some of them jump on bandwagon right away because we have to have it. Everything about it is so sexy. Or, oh, we have to have it as well because our competitor have it. We don't want to be the one left behind. But when it comes to construction industry, to me, based on the experience from working in the industry, and you probably have seen a lot of reports as well, we tend to fall into this category. Why? Why is there resistance to adopt new or innovative idea or innovation in our industry? Right? I think there are lots of things, new idea, new tool, new innovation that can help us facilitating us to achieve the sustainability which everyone in this room would like to do. And to do this, to address this, one of my PhD students and our research team currently doing another research project about big data in construction. At the beginning, before he started the project, he came with a good idea. He would like to know what sort of big data analysis or big data application that construction firm use. And then when he embarked on his research journey, he has found that many construction companies don't even know what is big data. Not surprised. And then he engaged deeper with a lot of companies. He's found that actually a lot of companies already have been producing and have and possess those data already, but they never look at it because they don't have capability. So he's now readjusting his research focus on if construction firm would like to do, what do they need? What do they need to have to be able to use those use big data application? And the last noise that I would like to raise is sustainability a political football? Are politicians and those who advocate against climate change too noisy. This is Australian former Prime Minister, very well educated. In quote, he called wind turbine a dark satanic muse of the modern era. At the same time, you also have your very interesting Prime Minister. He even said to climate change protesters, go and tell China, nothing to do with me, nothing to do with us. Go and tell people who create this problem. I don't know, I think they are the group of people who have power, who has influence that can change policy, can change the way we do things to achieve sustainability. But it seems to me like they operate in a totally different world to us. I don't have the answer why or what are the driver behind their action, but this is what we see. And you probably see on the other side of the sea, you have another big person who's doing similar thing as well. However, having said all that, doesn't mean all of them are negative noise. There are some people in the area that already have been doing good things. This is very interesting. Earlier this year, Cuba even including the fight against climate change into their constitution. This is a very, very interesting move that I think a lot of us, many countries, should learn from and do something or create some movement in a similar direction. So, with all of these four noise that I mentioned earlier, did we get our message across to the right people through the right channel? I wholeheartedly believe that all of us, everyone in this room, have a lot of knowledge about sustainability. We have been doing research greatly on so many things that can help us improve sustainability. But did we get our message to the right people? One of our responsibilities as academics is we have to write academic journal publication. The question that I ask myself is, who's out there who's doing with the hands-on put together the building? Do they really read my work? I don't think they do. We often read each other's work, cite each other's paper, but the message didn't get across out. So if and when we get this great knowledge, great message out to the right people through the right channel, I believe that this might help us dissipate those noise that I mentioned earlier, and hopefully we can do something good for the world. Thank you.